Ballroom light slices across the silver tray in my hands, so bright it hurts. The glasses rattle softly with every step, and the knot of my apron digs into my spine like a reminder. Stay small, stay useful, don't make noise. Laughter swells behind me, my husband's laugh, easy and warm, the kind he never saves for home. I pivot around a cluster of suits and perfume, and a man in charcoal stops dead in my path. His stare pins me, not at my apron, not at the tray, my face. His throat works, his voice comes out rough, almost trembling. "Elizabeth, is that you?" The word punches air out of my lungs. My fingers go slick, the tray dips, glass clinks sharp, and the sound feels like it echoes inside my ribs. Every muscle in my body tries to fold inward, to hide the old name behind my teeth. "Elizabeth?" My husband scoffs, somewhere to my left, like it's a joke he can crush with a smile. But the billionaire doesn't look away. His gaze turns cold, precise. Dangerous in a quiet way. Like he's already deciding what to shut down, who to erase from the room without raising his voice. And my hands won't stop shaking, because that name isn't just a name. It's a life I buried to survive. My name is Liz now. Short, smooth. Easy to say when someone is barking it across a room like I'm part of the furniture. Wife, exhausted mother. The woman my husband, Grant, introduces with a grin that never reaches his eyes. "Oh, her. She's basically the maid who married up." Every time he says it, something hot crawls up my throat. I swallow it back down because Mia is always somewhere nearby. My little girl with her soft hands and questions that land like tiny darts. I kept my mouth shut for her. For rent paid on time, for groceries. For the illusion of calm, peace. That's what I called it. But peace, I learned, can be a cage with velvet lining. Quiet rules, quiet punishments, quiet apologies that never change anything. I learned how to move through my own house like I'm trying not to set off an alarm. And then that man, Adrian Vale, looked at me like he could see under my skin. "Elizabeth." The sound of it makes my stomach twist hard, like a rope pulling tight. It's not just recognition, it's exposure, like someone yanked open a drawer I nailed shut years ago and dumped everything out on the floor in front of strangers. I'm Liz because Elizabeth had to disappear. Grant is all charm in public, laughing, hand on my back, playing the devoted husband. At home, he's a lock turning, a hand hovering over my choices, a voice that says, sweet as syrup, "Don't make this difficult." Marlene, his mother, wears pearls and a smile sharp enough to cut fruit. She judges my floors, my hair, my breathing. She praises me like a dog when I'm useful and ignores me when I'm human. Adrian Vale stands in a suit like he was made for boardrooms and silence. Powerful, precise, and somehow, impossibly, he knows my real name. Mia is my anchor, my reason, the only thing that has ever made me brave and terrified at the same time. So if you've ever been underestimated, stay. Because what happened next left my husband speechless. Our house always looks like it's waiting to be judged. In the mornings, sunlight spills through the blinds in thin, accusing stripes and lands on the hardwood like a spotlight. I wipe it anyway, again. My palms move in circles until my skin feels too tight over my knuckles, until the wood shines like it's trying to prove something. The vacuum hum is the first voice I hear most days. Low, steady, obedient. It drowns out my thoughts just enough to make breathing easier. When the machine clicks off, the silence rushes in. I stand there for a second, holding the handle, and I can almost hear my own heart. Not loud, not dramatic, just persistent, like it's reminding me I still exist in here. The front rooms are a stage. The throw pillows sit at perfect angles. The counters are bare. The air smells like lemon cleaner, and whatever candle Marlene insisted would make the place feel upscale. If someone walked in, they'd think we were happy. They'd think we were the kind of family that took pictures on stairs in matching outfits. Behind closed doors, everything is different. Behind closed doors, I measure my footsteps. Grant likes the version of me that's quiet. The version that doesn't take up space. The version that laughs at his jokes even when they sting. In public, he slides an arm around my waist like he's claiming something precious. At home, he barely looks up from his phone unless I'm in his way. And I am always in his way, somehow. "Liz," he calls, dragging my name out like it's a command, not a person. "Did you pay the electricity bill?" My mouth opens, reflexive. Yes. Always yes. I paid it 2 days ago, from the account he says is ours, but somehow only he controls. I know the password only because he typed it once in front of me and didn't realize I watched his fingers like my life depended on it. "It's handled," I say. He doesn't thank me. He just nods like I reported the weather. Then, like he can't help himself. He adds casual, easy, like tossing breadcrumbs. You're lucky I'm on top of this stuff. You'd be lost without me. Lucky. The word sits on my tongue like grit. I feel it scrape the back of my throat as I swallow. He says it the way a man says he saved a stray dog. The way a man speaks about something he found and decided to keep. Sometimes he says it with a smile. Sometimes he says it in front of other people, like it's entertainment. Liz doesn't do numbers, he'll chuckle at dinner when friends come over. She's more domestic. He'll glance at me, eyebrows lifted, waiting for me to play along. Right, babe, I rescued her from chaos. Rescued. Like my life before him was a burning building and he carried me out in his arms. Like I didn't walk into this marriage on my own 2 feet. Like I didn't choose him because I thought he was safe. I thought safe meant gentle. I didn't know safe could also mean small. Marlene is worse because she enjoys it. Grant's mother has a way of entering a room like she already disapproves of the air. Her perfume arrives before she does, powdery and sharp, and when she kisses my cheek, it feels like being touched by a glove. Her eyes slide over me, not to see me, but to check me. Hair, nails, stains, dust. Every visit is an inspection. She'll run her finger along the mantle, then hold it up like evidence. Just that. A hum, a tiny sound that says, "You failed," and then she'll smile, sweet, polished, and turn to Grant. Your wife works so hard, she keeps everything running. Wife? She says the word like it's ironic. During family gatherings, she assigns me tasks without even asking if I'm already doing something. Liz, bring more ice. Liz, the appetizers need arranging. Liz, wipe the table, your nephew spilled. I move. I always move. Because if I don't, Grant's jaw tightens. Because if I don't, the air changes. Because if I don't, I'll pay for it later in little ways. Withdrawn warmth, sudden budget restrictions, the silent treatment that makes me feel like a ghost in my own kitchen. I swallow anger like bitter tea, hot, constant, burning all the way down. I've gotten good at swallowing. I swallow when Grant corrects me in front of people. Actually, he'll say, cutting over me with a laugh, that's not how it happened. Even if it is. Even if it's my story. He does it casually, like he's tidying up a mess I made by speaking. Liz exaggerates, he tells people with a wink. She's cute like that. Cute. I feel my face warm, my cheeks prickling, and I bite the inside of my mouth until the sharp sting pulls me back into my body. Don't cry. Don't react. Don't make a scene. That's what he wants. That's how he wins. At home, money is his favorite leash. He calls it budgeting, like he's responsible, like he's protecting us. But I can feel the control in it, the way he asks for receipts, the way he questions every purchase like I'm stealing from him, the way he keeps the main cards in his wallet, and I have a small one for groceries that declines if I go $10 over whatever limit he set that week. I'm just trying to help, he'll say, calm as still water. You're not exactly disciplined. The sentence lands soft, then sinks. Sometimes I stand in the grocery aisle with my phone in one hand and Mia's little fingers wrapped around mine, and I can't breathe because the card declined again, and the cashier is waiting and the people behind me are sighing, and my child is watching my face like she's learning what shame looks like. Then I fix it. Always. I call Grant. I keep my voice low. I apologize, even when I don't know what I did wrong. He approves the purchase, like a king granting mercy. I thank him like I'm supposed to. Mia shouldn't know this version of me. She shouldn't know the way my shoulders creep up when I hear Grant's footsteps. She shouldn't see how I flinch when Marlene's voice cuts through a room. She shouldn't feel the tension in my hands when I braid her hair and my fingers shake for no reason. But kids know. They always know. Mia is small enough that she still smells like shampoo and crayons. When she hugs me, her body is warm and trusting, and something in my chest softens so fast it hurts. I press my lips to the top of her head and hold on too long, like I'm anchoring myself to the one pure thing left. Mommy, she whispers sometimes when Grant is out of earshot. Are you mad? I lie. I always lie. No, baby, just tired. Tired is safer than angry. Tired is allowed. Angry is dangerous. The day everything started to tilt. Grant came home early. The front door clicked, then shut with a firmness that made my stomach drop. I was at the sink, hands in sudsy water, watching soap bubbles slide down my wrists. The radio was murmuring quietly, something cheerful that didn't match the air. Grant's shoes hit the floor. 1, 2, a pause. I dried my hands fast, rubbing them on a dish towel, and walked toward the living room like I was approaching a sleeping animal. He was standing near the window, tie loosened, phone in his hand. His jaw was tight. "Bad day?" I asked, voice careful. He didn't answer right away. He scrolled. He exhaled through his nose like I had already disappointed him. Then he looked up. "We have a problem." The word problem in his mouth means my body reacts before my mind does. My shoulders go stiff. My lungs pull shallow air. "What kind of problem?" I asked. "The company," he snapped, then softened instantly, like he realized his tone was too sharp. He ran a hand over his hair. "We need investors. We're expanding." Expanding. That's what he calls it when he's bleeding money. I nodded, because nodding is what I do. "Okay." "There's a charity gala this weekend," he continued. "Big people will be there. People who matter. People who matter." I stood there holding the dish towel like it could shield me. Grant's eyes flicked over me, not affectionate, not even neutral. Assessing. Calculating. "I need you there," he said. For a second, something stupid in me fluttered. A tiny, pathetic hope. Need me. There. As his wife, as a partner, like in those movies where the husband finally sees his wife. Then he added, "to help." The flutter died. He stepped closer and lowered his voice like he was giving me instructions for a job interview. "Marlene said the event staff is always stretched. You can blend in, keep an eye on things, make sure nothing goes wrong. You're good at handling details." Handling details like I'm a clipboard, like I'm a pair of hands. "I'm not staff," I said before I could stop myself. The air went tight. Grant's gaze sharpened, and in it I saw the version of him I don't like remembering, the one that doesn't shout, doesn't throw things, doesn't need to, the one that just makes you feel small until you shrink on your own. "Liz," he said slowly, like I was being difficult on purpose. "Don't start." My mouth went dry. I could taste soap on my tongue. "I just thought," I began. "You thought wrong," he cut in, then smiled like he was joking. "Besides, it's not like you're some social butterfly. You'll be more comfortable working. Less pressure." Less pressure. My heart thudded hard, once, like a warning. He turned and walked toward the hallway. "I'll have a dress brought. Simple, black." I followed him without thinking. "A black dress?" He looked back over his shoulder, impatient. "Staff wears black." Staff. The word hit, and I felt heat rush up my neck. My fingers curled around the towel so hard the fabric twisted. Grant kept walking as if he hadn't just shoved me into a box and shut the lid. That night, Marlene called. Grant put her on speaker because he likes when she performs for him. He likes the way she reinforces his reality. "Oh, Liz," she cooed, voice syrupy through the phone. "Grant tells me you'll be helping at the gala. How wonderful. It'll keep you busy." I stood at the counter, staring at the pattern in the granite. I could see my reflection faintly, just a blur of eyes and hair. Not a person. A shadow. "It's a big night for Grant," Marlene continued. "This is his chance to impress some very important people. You won't embarrass him, will you?" My stomach clenched. "Of course not." "Good girl," she said, pleased. "Good girl." My nails bit into my palm. I didn't let my face change. Mia was at the table coloring, tongue peeking out between her lips as she concentrated. She didn't look up, but I still felt like she could sense the tension vibrating off my skin. Grant leaned against the wall, arms crossed, listening like this was normal, like this was love. After the call, he kissed my forehead. It was quick, performative, like checking off a task. "See," he murmured, "we're a team. A team doesn't feel like this. A team doesn't make you feel like you're always one mistake away from being punished." The next day, a box arrived. Black tissue paper. A simple dress folded inside like it belonged to someone else. No sparkle, no softness. Practical, invisible. The kind of thing you wear when you don't want to be remembered. Grant watched me hold it up. "It'll do," he said, eyes already back on his phone. "Just keep your hair neat and don't talk too much." Don't talk too much. My throat tightened until swallowing felt like forcing down a stone. That evening, friends came over. Grant's coworkers and their wives. The house became loud with laughter and clinking glasses. Music played. Marlene showed up in a cream blouse and pearls, as if she lived here. I moved through the room, refilling drinks, collecting plates. Not because anyone asked, because that's what I do, because no one stops me. Grant introduced everyone with easy confidence. When he got to me, he didn't put an arm around my waist. He just tipped his chin toward me. "This is Liz," he said brightly. "She keeps the place running." Like I was the dishwasher. One of the wives smiled at me in that way women sometimes do when they're unsure of another woman's rank. "Nice to meet you," she said, polite. "Nice to meet you," I replied, voice soft. Grant chuckled. "Don't mind her, she's shy." Shy. No, I'm trapped. I carried dishes back to the kitchen, and the laughter followed me like smoke. I turned on the faucet too hard, water splashing up onto my wrists, cold and stinging. I gripped the counter and stared at the window above the sink. Outside, the night was dark and quiet, and for a second I imagined walking out the back door and not stopping. Just keep going, no purse, no phone, just air and distance. But then Mia's voice drifted in from the living room, small and bright, and my chest tightened. I can't run, not without her. Later, after everyone left and the house finally exhaled into silence, I tucked Mia into bed. She was half asleep, lashes resting against her cheeks. Her stuffed rabbit was clutched in one arm, worn soft from love. I brushed her hair back with my fingers. "Mom?" she mumbled, eyes barely open. My voice came out thin. She blinked slowly, then focused on me with that eerie child clarity that makes my skin prickle. "What's your real name?" The question slid under my ribs. My hand froze in her hair. For a second, the room tilted. The lamp glow looked too bright. The air felt thick, like I was breathing through cloth. My heartbeat thumped in my ears, loud as footsteps. Mia's eyes were heavy, but curious. Innocent. "Why do you ask that, sweetheart?" I managed, but my mouth felt numb around the words. She yawned. "Grandma Marlene said Liz is your pretend name, like when I pretend I'm a princess." The bile rose fast, bitter at the back of my throat. I swallowed hard, and it burned. Marlene knows. Or suspects. Or is fishing. My fingers trembled against Mia's scalp. I forced them to move again, slow and gentle, like everything inside me wasn't unraveling. "I'm just Liz," I whispered. Mia frowned in sleepy confusion. "But who's Elizabeth?" My lungs locked. The name hung in the air between us like a ghost. I stared at my daughter, at her soft cheeks, her tiny breath, and felt something cold spread through my stomach, heavy and sinking. Because if Marlene was saying that to Mia, it meant she'd been watching me closer than I realized. And if she'd been watching, then Grant might start watching too. I leaned down and kissed Mia's forehead. My lips were cold. "Go to sleep, baby," I whispered, voice shaking in a way I couldn't control. She closed her eyes, already drifting. I sat beside her bed for a long time after that, listening to her breathing and the faint creaks of the house settling. My hands were folded tight in my lap, fingers interlaced like a prayer. In the dark, I could feel the old name pressing against the inside of my chest, like it wanted out. Elizabeth. I hadn't said it out loud in years, and now my daughter had. I stared at the door, half expecting Grant to appear in the hallway, drawn by some instinct, some scent of weakness, but the hallway stayed empty. For now. In my mouth, the taste of bitterness lingered. In my body, tension sat like a coiled wire. And somewhere deep inside me, under the swallowed anger, under the practiced quiet, I felt a small, sharp point of fear. Not fear of being called a maid, fear of being found. The gala air is cold the moment I step inside, like the building is too rich to hold heat for people like me. Chandeliers spill light in a way that feels personal. Too bright, too honest, catching every stray thread on my dress, every tired shadow under my eyes. The ceiling is high enough to make you feel small on purpose. Music glides through the room, smooth and expensive, and perfume floats everywhere in layered clouds, floral, spicy, sharp, so thick it sits on my tongue when I breathe. I keep my shoulders tucked in. I keep my smile practiced. My hands stay busy. Grant walks half a step ahead of me, not beside me. Never beside me. His suit is tailored and confident, and he keeps adjusting his cufflinks like he's reminding himself he belongs here. He doesn't look back to make sure I'm okay. He looks back to make sure I'm useful. A server slips past carrying a tray of champagne flutes. Grant snatches one with 2 fingers and downs it too fast, like he's trying to drown something that keeps rising. Then he turns to me, eyes scanning, calculating, and he presses a silver tray into my hands as if handing me my place. "Shadow them," he murmurs, mouth barely moving. "Stay close. If anyone needs anything, handle it. And Liz..." His gaze sharpens, the smile still glued on for anyone watching. "Don't embarrass me." My fingers curl around the edge of the tray until the metal bites. The tray is cold. My skin isn't. I can feel heat climbing my neck, a flush of anger I can't afford. I'm not here to embarrass you, I whisper back. Grant's lips twitch. Good, because I can't deal with emotions tonight. Emotions. Like they're mess, like they're a spill I'll have to clean up if I let them happen. He glides away into a circle of men in suits. Laughter blooms around him instantly, as if the room rewards him for existing. I stand with my tray near the servers, matching their pace, copying their movements. Head down, smile, quiet. Staff wears black. My feet sink into the carpet, plush and thick. Every step feels muffled, like the building is swallowing sound. I pass a mirrored wall and catch myself. Black dress, hair pulled back, tray balanced like a prop. If I didn't know better, I'd think I belonged to the staff. If I didn't know better, I'd believe it. A woman in a glittering gown lifts her empty flute toward me without looking at my face. Her bracelets clink softly. Champagne, she says, voice bored. I hesitate a fraction too long. Not because I can't do it. I can. My hands know how to serve. My hands have done nothing but serve. I hesitate because she didn't ask. She assumed. I glance toward Grant. He's right there, laughing with a man twice his age. He sees the woman's gesture. He sees her hand out, my tray, my dress. His mouth curves. He doesn't correct her. He enjoys it. I can see it in the small lift of his cheeks, the way his eyes flicker with satisfaction. Something sour rolls in my stomach. I tilt the bottle and pour champagne into her glass with a steady hand. The bubbles rise fast, eager. She snatches the glass and turns away without a thank you. I feel my face go blank like a mask sliding into place. I move again. The room is full of laughter, but when it's aimed at you, or when you know it could be, it doesn't sound like joy. It sounds like knives tapping against crystal, sharp little edges hidden inside smiles. Grant's voice carries over the hum. Trust me, once Veil signs on, we're set. Veil! The name hits the air differently than the others, heavier. People lean in when Grant says it, even if they pretend they aren't. It's the kind of name that turns heads without needing a face attached. I hear whispers as I pass. Adrian Vale might show up. Did you hear? He bought out 3 companies last year. They say he replaces leadership overnight. Overnight, like a light switch. Like people's livelihoods are nothing but a line item. Grant is desperate for him. I can taste it in the way Grant keeps touching his tie, checking his phone, scanning the entrance like a dog waiting for a command. His laughter is too loud now, forced at the edges. His eyes don't rest. He needs this. He needs someone with power to validate him. And I am just the maid carrying the tray. I drift near the servers again, listening to the clink of glassware, the soft hiss of open bottles, the quiet murmurs between staff who actually are staff. Their eyes slide over me with quick recognition. One of us. Another black dress. A young server with a tight bun nods toward my tray. You knew? She whispers. My throat tightens. The word yes nearly falls out because it would be easier. It would be simpler to become what they already think I am. No, I manage. I'm with someone. She shrugs, already moving on, already too tired to care. Well, you look like staff. Careful, they'll treat you like it. They already are. My phone vibrates in my clutch. A picture of Mia fills the screen for a second. Her smile missing one tooth, her eyes bright. The sight cracks something in me. My heart clenches hard, like it's trying to fold in half. I don't answer. I can't. Grant forbade me from making calls tonight. No distractions, he said. This is my night. My night, not ours. I slip the phone back and breathe through the ache. The room sways a little, not from dizziness, from the constant effort of holding myself together. It takes work not to show it. It takes work not to break. I move through the crowd, tray held steady, and I feel invisible. Invisible until invisibility becomes dangerous. Because invisible women don't get protected. They get blamed. They get used. They get pushed into corners and told they're lucky for the space. A man brushes past too close, his hand grazing my lower back in a way that makes my skin crawl. I stiffen, but he's already gone, laughing, not even aware he touched a person. Just a body in black. I inhale sharply. Perfume and champagne and something metallic, like my own fear, fills my lungs. Across the room, Grant catches my eye and jerks his chin. Command! Come here! I walk over, tray balanced, jaw tight. He leans close without turning his head, smile fixed. When Vale arrives, stay out of the way, he murmurs. Don't hover, don't talk, just be useful. Be useful. The words land in my chest like a hand pressing down. Yes, I say. because anything else would be an explosion. And I can't explode. Not here. Grant straightens and raises his glass to someone new, already forgetting me. I step back and my heel catches slightly on the carpet. For a second, the tray wobbles. Glasses clink, a sharp chime. My pulse jumps into my throat. Grant's eyes flash toward me, warning. I steady the tray. I steady myself. I swallow. Hot. Bitter. Burning all the way down. Time passes in fragments. A laugh here, a passing comment there, my hands pouring, clearing, wiping. My body runs on quiet autopilot, while my mind keeps circling one thought, like a sore tooth. Why does being called Elizabeth feel like someone tearing open a scar? The name sits inside me, heavy and hidden. I haven't heard it spoken in years. I haven't allowed it. I became Liz like a survival trick, shorter, duller, easier to carry. Elizabeth is too bright, too sharp, too full of history. But it's mine. A sudden ripple moves through the room. It starts near the entrance, like a hush rolling forward. Conversations falter mid-sentence. Laughter fades into polite silence. Even the music seems quieter, as if the building itself is listening. I turn slightly, tray still in my hands. People are shifting, straightening, smiling differently. Wider, hungrier, more rehearsed. Men adjust their jackets. Women smooth their hair. Everyone subtly orients toward the doorway. Grant's head snaps up. His posture changes instantly, his shoulders square. His face lights up with a grin so bright it looks painful. "He's here," someone whispers. My stomach drops. Adrian Vale steps inside. He doesn't rush. He doesn't scan nervously. He moves like the room belongs to him, and he's letting it exist out of generosity. Tall, charcoal suit, no flashy accessories. Everything about him is clean lines and restraint. The kind of restraint that means power isn't something he performs. It's something he is. The air feels thinner. My skin prickles along my arms, the fine hairs lifting as if my body recognizes danger before my mind can name it. I shift the tray slightly, trying to blend into the background, trying to become a shadow. Grant glides toward him, practically vibrating with eagerness. His smile is big enough to split his face. "Mr. Vale, Adrian, what an honor." I can't hear the rest. The words blur under the roar of blood in my ears. Because Adrian's gaze, it moves. Not toward Grant, not toward the cluster of high-status faces crowding him like moths around a flame. His eyes slide past them and land on me. It's not a glance. It's not accidental. It's a stop. A lock. His brows draw together slowly, like he's watching a memory come alive, like he's assembling pieces that were scattered for years and suddenly, impossibly, they click. My breath catches hard. My fingers tighten around the tray. The metal edge presses into my skin, grounding me in pain because everything else feels unreal. No, 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 no. I lower my chin and step sideways, trying to disappear behind a server, trying to hide my face in plain sight, trying to make myself smaller than I already am. But his eyes follow. Across the hall, people keep talking, smiling, pretending. Grant laughs too loudly. Marlene, yes, she's here, glowing in pearls, tilts her head, watching Adrian like he's the sun. Everyone is orbiting him, and Adrian is looking at me like I'm the center. My throat goes dry. My mouth tastes like champagne and bile. I take a step back. Another. My heel bumps into something soft, the edge of a curtain maybe, and the tray tilts a fraction. Glasses clink again, a tiny betrayed sound. Adrian's gaze sharpens further, as if the sound snapped him into certainty. He starts walking. Not toward Grant, toward me. The crowd parts without realizing it. People move out of his way instinctively, like the space belongs to him. My heart is hammering so hard it hurts, each beat punching against my ribs. I can't move. My feet feel glued to the carpet. My hands are shaking. I try to steady them, but the tremor runs up my arms into my shoulders, into my throat, into my teeth. He gets closer. The smell of his cologne hits me. Clean, woody, expensive, but not overpowering. It drags something from my past, something I can't quite catch. Like a door cracking open and cold air spilling in. His face is calm, but his eyes are not. His eyes are storm dark, focused, almost stunned. He stops right in front of my tray, right in front of me, close enough that I can see a small crease at the corner of his mouth, like he's holding back words that want to rush out. close enough that my breath brushes the rim of the champagne flutes. I lift my eyes. His stare is so intense it feels like being held underwater, like he's been looking for me, like he never stopped. And then, before I can decide whether to run or scream or pretend I don't understand, his lips part. His voice drops low, rough around the edges, like it scraped out of him. "Elizabeth! Elizabeth!" It's barely a whisper, but it detonates inside me. My ribs feel too small for my heart. The sound of my name, my real name, slams through my chest like thunder trapped under skin. I forget how to breathe. The room blurs at the edges, chandeliers smearing into streaks of gold, faces turning into pale ovals, with mouths that move but make no sense. My fingers tighten around the tray until my joints ache. "Elizabeth!" No one says that. No one is supposed to. I force my lips into something that might pass as a smile because my body knows the rules better than my mind does. "Play nice. Stay calm. Don't make it worse." But my throat is closing. My tongue is heavy. Adrian's eyes don't flicker. They pin me, steady and unflinching, like he's afraid if he looks away, I'll vanish. The word scrapes out of me, thin and useless. He leans in just a fraction, not invading, not pushing, just enough to make his voice a private thread between us. "Elizabeth Hart." The tray tilts. A flute taps another, a sharp, accusing clink. I catch it before it falls, but the sound slices through the hush like a blade. My stomach drops so hard it feels like my organs shift. Heart. I taste iron. My mind yanks backward, violently, like someone grabbed my hair and pulled. A different room. Smaller. Fluorescent lights humming overhead. A desk covered in spreadsheets and printed reports. My fingers stained with cheap coffee. My eyes gritty from nights that never ended. I can smell the copier toner and the stale air conditioning. I can hear my own breath, fast and shallow, as numbers line up into something ugly. Fraud. It wasn't dramatic at first. Just wrong. A decimal that didn't belong. A vendor that existed on paper, but nowhere else. A pattern that kept repeating like a heartbeat. I remember the way my skin went cold while my brain burned. The sick thrill of knowing I'd found something real. The dread of realizing what it meant. I was Elizabeth Hart then. Small-town girl with a scholarship and a stubborn spine. The first in my family to wear a blazer to work. The kind of person who believed doing the right thing mattered because it had to. Because if it didn't, what was the point of anything? I reported it the way you're supposed to. Quietly, proper channels, notes, evidence, dates. I thought the system would protect me. I didn't understand the system was a mouth, and I'd just put my hand inside it. The first threat came like a joke. A man I'd never met stood too close in an elevator and said, smiling, "Curious girls get tired." I laughed, because my body didn't know what else to do. That night, my apartment door was scratched. Just a little, like someone tested it. My mail was gone, my phone buzzed with a blocked number that didn't speak, just breathed. And then the emails started, from unknown addresses. 2 words, 1 sentence. Little knots of menace. "Drop it. Be smart. Think of your baby. My baby." My palm flies to my stomach now on instinct, even though Mia is long out of me, long alive. But my body remembers that pregnancy like a bruise. I was only a few months along when I realized I wasn't just protecting myself anymore. I was protecting a heartbeat. I remember standing in my bathroom, one hand braced on the sink, the other flat against my belly, whispering, "I'm sorry." I remember sobbing silently so my neighbors wouldn't hear, because even crying felt unsafe. I vanished. Not like in movies, no dramatic airport chase. Just me packing a bag at 3 a.m., trembling so hard my teeth clicked. I cut my hair in the sink, because long hair is recognizable. I threw out my old phone and kept cash hidden in a shoe. I left my job without notice. I didn't tell friends, I didn't tell anyone who could be pressured, traced, used. I became Liz because Liz didn't exist on those reports. Liz wasn't the name on the complaint. Liz wasn't the girl who poked the monster. Liz was a woman with a plain smile and no history. Liz could rent a small place. Liz could take quiet jobs. Liz could keep her head down and raise her child without feeling watched. For a while, it worked. Then Grant happened. Grant was a warm voice in a normal place. A laugh that didn't make my skin crawl. A man who held doors and asked how my day was, and didn't look at me like I was something to use. When he said, "You're safe with me," I wanted to believe him so badly it hurt. I wanted normal like a starving person wants food, so I took it. I married it. And normal became another trap, soft at first, then tightening one loop at a time until I could feel it around my throat. Elizabeth! Grant's voice cuts through the fog like a slap. I blink hard. The ballroom snaps back into focus in ugly detail, glitter, glass, faces, my tray. Adrian's eyes still locked on mine. The hush around us. The weight of attention pressing down like wet wool. Grant is pushing through people now, smile stretched too wide. He laughs as he reaches us, loud and mocking, like he can break this moment with sound. Elizabeth, what is this, a soap opera? He leans in toward Adrian, trying to slide into the space between us. She's Liz, my wife. You must be mistaken. My wife. The words feel wrong in his mouth. Too clean, too possessive. Grant's hand comes down on my arm like a clamp, his fingers squeezed just above my elbow. Too tight, too deliberate. Pain sparks bright and immediate. My skin prickles. My pulse flares. I can feel my bones under his grip, can feel the heat of his palm like a brand. He doesn't look at my face when he does it, and he keeps smiling at Adrian, but his mouth angles toward my ear and his voice goes low, sharp, poisonous. Stop flirting for tips. My stomach twists so fast I gag on air. Flirting. Like I did this. Like I invited it. Like the humiliation is my fault for existing in front of power. My eyes sting. Not with tears yet, something hotter than tears. Rage so bright it makes my vision tighten. Adrian's gaze drops to Grant's hand on my arm. For the first time, something changes in Adrian's face. Not anger, not surprise. Calculation. The kind of calm that comes before a door slams shut. His voice stays even when he speaks, almost polite. But his eyes harden into something that doesn't forgive. Let go, he says. Grant chuckles again, trying to make it nothing. Oh, she's fine, she's clumsy, always dropping things. His fingers tighten, as if to prove he can. A sharp breath hisses through my teeth. My body wants to fold inward, wants to comply, wants to smooth this over because that's what I've trained myself to do. But pain is a strange gift. It makes everything clear. I look at Grant's hand on me, the way he grips like I'm an object he owns. I look at his smile, the one he wears in public like armor. I look at the people watching, faces bright with curiosity, hungry for drama they can take home and chew on. And I realize something so simple it makes me dizzy. Grant didn't misunderstand me. He didn't accidentally diminish me. He did it on purpose. He took my silence and used it like proof that I deserved to be small. He fed on it. He grew from it. Every joke, every correction, every budget, every staff wears black. It wasn't clumsiness. It was strategy. He shrank me so he could feel tall. The thought lands in me like a stone dropping into deep water. And in the sudden quiet inside my head, I feel a different voice. A voice I haven't heard in years. Elizabeth's voice. Not soft, not apologetic, clear. No. My fingers loosen on the tray. I don't know when I started holding it like a shield, but I set it down on the nearest table, careful, controlled. Glasses clink softly. The sound is delicate, almost pretty. My arm throbs under Grant's grip. I lift my eyes to Adrian again. His face is unreadable, but his attention is sharp, focused entirely on me, like he's waiting for a signal only I can give. My throat works. I swallow. The bitterness is there, but so is something else. Steel. I turn my head toward Grant slowly, and the movement feels like stepping out of a shadow. His smile falters for half a second when he sees my expression. Good. Let him see. Don't, I whisper, and my voice surprises even me. It's low, steady, not pleading. Grant's eyes narrow, warning flashing. His grip tightens again, a silent threat. The old me would have flinched, would have apologized. Instead, my spine straightens. It's not dramatic, it's just inevitable. Adrian's gaze flicks to my face, then back to Grant's hand. The air around him seems to chill. He takes a step closer, not aggressive, just present. Unavoidable. Grant's laughter stutters. Look, Mr. Vale, Adrian, this is really... Adrian cuts him off with a single glance, like shutting a laptop. His voice stays quiet, controlled. I said let go. People are staring openly now. Someone coughs. The music keeps playing, oblivious. But it sounds far away, like it's happening in another life. Grant hesitates. Just a beat. And in that hesitation, I feel power shift. Not to Adrian, to me. Because Grant's grip is nothing compared to what he's afraid of. Being seen, being exposed, being made small in front of people who matter to him. He loosens his hand slightly, still holding on, still trying to control the optics. Adrian's attention returns to my face, and his voice drops again, private in the middle of a crowded room. "If you're her," he murmurs, and for the first time there's something almost human in his expression. Concern edged with urgency, like he's looking at a wound he recognizes. "You're not safe here." My breath catches. The words hit different than Grant's threats because they don't feel like control. They feel like truth. Adrian's hand moves. Not fast, not forceful. He turns his palm upward between us, and in it is a simple business card, matte and heavy, like it was made to last. He presses it into my free hand. The card is cool against my skin. Solid. Real. A lifeline. My fingers curl around it automatically, as if my body knows what my mind is still catching up to. Grant notices. His eyes drop to the card, and something ugly flashes across his face, fear dressed up as anger. He tightens his hold again, just enough to remind me he can. But I don't look away from Adrian, because my breaking point isn't loud, it's quiet. It's the moment I decide I will never beg to be treated like a wife again. I will not plead for respect from people who only understand power. If they want a performance, I'll give them one. Not the maid, not the shy wife, Elizabeth Hart, and the truth I've been swallowing for years is rising now, hot, bitter, unstoppable, ready to make them choke on their own arrogance. I don't remember deciding to move. One second, I'm standing there with Grant's fingers still branded into my arm. The next, I'm walking, fast, careful, through a corridor that smells like polished wood and money. The gala noise fades behind me, muffled by thick walls and heavier doors, until all that's left is the soft, distant piano, like someone's fingertips are trying to soothe the storm. My heels don't click out here. The carpet eats the sound. Adrian is a few steps ahead, not grabbing me, not dragging me, just leading, like he knows I'll follow because I don't have another option that doesn't end with Grant tightening the cage. His shoulders are rigid, controlled. He doesn't look back until he pushes open a lounge door and holds it with one hand. Inside, the light is low and warm. Leather chairs, a small bar, a vase with flowers that look too perfect to be real. The piano comes from a speaker, hidden somewhere, soft and steady, like a heartbeat that isn't panicking. Adrian shuts the door behind us. The quiet hits me so hard my knees threaten to fold. My mouth opens. Nothing comes out. My palms are damp around the business card. The edges bite into my skin, proof that this isn't a hallucination brought on by humiliation and champagne fumes. Adrian's gaze goes to my arm. The red marks are already blooming where Grant grabbed me. Heat radiates there, pulsing. My body keeps replaying the squeeze like it's trying to memorize the pain. "Are you hurt?" Adrian asks. The question is simple, normal, and it makes my throat tighten because no one asks me that anymore. Not really. Not without it being a setup for something else. "I'm fine," I lie, reflexive. His eyes narrow slightly, not in anger, recognition. Like he knows my type. Like he's seen women swallow truth until it becomes habit. He doesn't argue. He just nods once, as if filing it away. Then he says my name again, quieter this time. Not a weapon, not a shock. "Elizabeth Hart." The room tilts. My stomach clenches. I press my tongue to the roof of my mouth, hard, grounding myself in the ache. "I don't use that name," I manage. Adrian's jaw tightens, then loosens. His voice stays calm, but there's something underneath it. An old frustration, an unfinished story. "I've been searching for you," he says. "For years." The words land in my chest like a shove. My skin prickles. "That's impossible." My voice comes out thin. "No one?" "I know about the case," he interrupts gently, like he's trying not to spook me. "The report you filed, the pattern you found, the people you threatened by doing the right thing." My lungs lock, the air tastes like dust and old fear. I take a step back without meaning to, and my calf bumps the edge of a chair. The soft leather presses into me, and I cling to that pressure like it's real. "How do you know?" My whisper scrapes my throat. Adrian exhales, slowly, controlled, like he's choosing each word with care. "Because I was connected to it," he says. "Not as a name on paper, not as someone who could be bought off, as someone who funded the investigation when the board tried to bury it, as someone your mentor trusted." Mentor. My pulse jumps. A face flashes in my mind. Mr. Delling, tired eyes, ink-stained fingers. The man who taught me how to follow numbers like footprints. The man who told me, "Truth always leaves a trail, Elizabeth. Always." I can smell his office. Old coffee. Paper. Rain on wool. He's gone now. I know he is. I found out the way you find out about deaths when you've cut all your strings. Through a random article, a name and a paragraph, a wave of grief that has nowhere to go. My throat burns. Adrian watches me carefully, and I hate that my eyes sting. I hate that my body betrays me with emotion when I'm trying to be stone. I thought you were dead, he admits, voice quieter. Or that you'd been silenced. The last lead went cold. Then tonight I saw you, and he swallows just once. You have the same eyes. My stomach flips. There's a strange intimacy in being recognized. Not the kind that feels like safety, the kind that feels like a spotlight dragging you out of hiding. I straighten my shoulders. My spine aches from the effort. I'm not a project, I say, sharper than I expect. If you're looking for a headline, I'm not here to use you, Adrian cuts in, and for the first time, his calm slips just enough to show something raw. Anger. Not at me. At what happened. At what was done. I hold his gaze anyway. Then what are you here for? I ask. He pauses. Then, to finish what you started, to make sure they can't do it again. My heart thuds. Once. Hard. The room feels smaller. I look down at the card in my hand. Matte black. Crisp edges. It feels like a key to a door I locked long ago. A key can open things you're not ready to see. I lift my chin. I have conditions. Adrian's brows lift slightly. Go on. My voice shakes, but I push through it. No saving me. I don't want a rescuer. I want control. He doesn't flinch. Safety for my daughter, I continue, and the words come out like a plea and a threat at the same time. Mia, if this touches her, if anyone even breathes near her, this ends. Adrian's expression hardens into something sharp and protective. Understood. And I decide how my name comes back, I say. My fingers tighten around the card. If it comes back, I won't be forced into the light like a spectacle. Adrian nods once, slow. Agreed. The quiet between us hums. I should feel relief. Instead, my stomach churns with a familiar dread, the dread of stepping onto a path you can't undo. Why now? I ask, softer. Why here? His gaze flicks toward the door, toward the muffled gala beyond, like he can sense the rot through walls. Because your husband's company is on my radar, he says, and not in a good way. A cold line draws down my spine. Grant, I whisper, tasting his name like poison. He's sloppy. But he thinks he's smart. Adrian's mouth tightens. Sloppy people steal more than they realize, and the people around them help. Marlene's smile flashes in my mind. Pearls, sweet words, cold eyes, the way she glides through rooms like she owns them. She'll burn everything to protect the family image, I murmur before I can stop myself. Adrian's eyes sharpen. Then she's part of it. My pulse beats hard against my ribs. The chessboard forms in my mind without effort. Like the old analyst part of me has been waiting in the dark, hungry. Grant needs investors. He needs legitimacy. He needs someone like Adrian to bless him. Marlene needs appearances. She needs her son to look successful because her own worth is tied to his shine. And me, I have access. Not because they trust me, because they don't see me. They treat me like furniture, present, useful, ignored. A lamp in the corner that quietly keeps the room lit. Furniture hears everything. Furniture is always there. I can get you what you need, I say, and the words feel like stepping off a ledge. Emails, invoices, anything that passes through the home printer, anything left open on his laptop when he thinks I'm just cleaning. Adrian watches me closely. Can you do it safely? I almost laugh. The sound gets stuck in my throat, bitter. Safely, I echo. Not really, but quietly. Adrian nods, decisive. Then do not confront them. Do not tip your hand. If you're in strategically. Strategically. The word settles me. It's a shape I recognize. A language that doesn't require begging. My hands stop shaking a little. Here's what will happen, Adrian says, voice steady, measured. My legal team will handle the evidence. We'll set a meeting under the pretense of investment. Your husband will bring his documents. He'll bring his confidence. He'll bring your mother-in-law if she's involved. I picture Grant's grin, the way he'll preen, the way he'll talk over everyone. The thought makes my stomach twist, but there's something else now, too. Anticipation. a dark spark. Good, I whisper. Adrian studies me for a beat, then hands me a second card, this one with a direct number, fewer words. If you feel unsafe, you call any hour. My fingers brush his, warm, solid. I tuck it into my clutch like it's contraband. The meeting ends before it really begins. Adrian opens the door again and lets the gala noise creep back in like smoke. The music swells, laughter returns, the illusion snaps into place. I step out, face composed, heart racing. Back on the floor, Grant is exactly where I left him, laughing too loud, shoulders squared, performing success. When he sees me return, his eyes narrow, just slightly. "Where were you?" he asks, smile still on for the crowd. "Restroom," I lie. His gaze flicks over me, searching for cracks. Then he leans closer, voice low and sugary. "Good, stay close tonight. Be supportive." Supportive. The word makes my teeth ache, but something has shifted inside me. I can feel it in the way my spine holds itself, in the way my eyes don't drop as quickly. Grant senses it. He doesn't understand it yet, but he senses it like an animal smells thunder. On the drive home, he talks too much. He praises me in odd little bursts. "You did great tonight. You look nice. Marlene even said you were helpful." Love bombing, wrapped in compliments so thin I can see through them. I stare out the window and let his words wash over me like noise. At home, he kisses my cheek longer than usual. It doesn't feel like love. It feels like inspection. The next morning, he brings coffee to the kitchen. Grant never brings coffee. He sets it down in front of me with a smile that's too careful. "Thought you could use a treat," he says. My stomach rolls. I take a sip anyway. The bitterness hits my tongue, grounding me. My eyes stay on his face. He watches me watch him. A little sweat shines at his temple, and then he starts in, soft and coaxing. "About last night, Mr. Vale, you didn't say anything weird, did you?" I set the mug down slowly. "No." Grant nods, relief flickering too fast. Then he catches himself and smiles again. "Good, because people like him." He chuckles. "They get ideas, you know? Ideas, like I'm bait," Marlene calls later. Her voice is bright, too bright. "Liz, sweetheart, I heard you had a little moment at the gala." A pause, a laugh. "Try not to draw attention. People might think you're unstable." Unstable. My fingers curl around the phone so hard my knuckles ache. I keep my voice smooth. "It was nothing." "Good," she purrs. "Because liars always get found out, dear." The line goes dead. I stand there in the kitchen, phone pressed to my ear even after the call ends, listening to my own breathing. Fear tries to rise. I force it down. That night, after Mia is asleep, I move through the house like a shadow that finally knows what it's worth. Grant's laptop is on the desk, open. He left it like he always does. Careless, confident, certain I'm harmless. A man who doesn't lock his doors because he doesn't believe anyone would dare. I sit. The chair creaks softly. My heartbeat is loud in my ears. I type the password I saw him enter 100 times. The screen unlocks. My mouth goes dry. Folders, emails, spreadsheets. The old part of me wakes up fully now, sharp and awake, like I've been starving and someone finally set a meal in front of me. I plug in a small USB drive I've hidden in a sewing kit. My hands are steady. Not because I'm not afraid, because I'm done being powerless. I copy what I can. Vendor lists, payment approvals, email chains with 2 friendly subject lines, a trail that smells wrong even before I study it deeply. The house is silent, except for the faint whir of the computer fan and my own breathing. I finish. Eject the drive. Hide it back where it belongs. I stand, and for a second, I just rest my palms on the desk, feeling the wood beneath my skin, feeling the reality of what I've started. Then I turn. Grant is in the doorway. My blood turns to ice. He's holding my bag, my clutch from the gala, like it's evidence. His eyes are too calm, too flat, like a lake right before something drags you under. He pulls out Adrian's card between 2 fingers, smiles. And it's not his public smile. It's the smile he wears when he thinks he's already won. "So," he says softly, almost amused. "Elizabeth." My lungs refuse to fill. He tilts his head, studying me like I'm a problem he's finally named. "What else have you been hiding from me?" The boardroom smells like glass and cold air, that sterile, over-conditioned chill that slides under your skin and makes you sit up straighter whether you want to or not. The walls are glass, too clear, too honest, like the building is daring anyone to lie inside it. Outside those walls, the city moves in blurred silence. Inside, every small sound matters. My heels click. The sound is sharp, clean. It snaps heads toward me. I almost flinch at the attention out of habit. My body still expecting punishment for being noticed, but I don't. I keep walking, one step, then another. My calves tighten with each stride, the controlled burn a reminder. I'm here. I chose this. I am not carrying a tray. I'm not wearing staff black. I'm in a simple dress, the color of deep wine, the kind that doesn't sparkle and doesn't beg. My hair is down, brushed smooth, and for the first time in years, I didn't pick a style based on what would make me look smaller. I picked what made me feel like myself. My throat still wants to close. I push past it. Grant sits near the center of the table, shoulders squared like a man preparing to be applauded. His tie is perfect. His smile is ready. He looks like the version of him that fooled me once, polished, confident, harmless. Marlene sits beside him, pearl earrings catching the light. Her hands are folded, like she's about to pray, but her eyes are scanning the room, like a general. She sees me and blinks once, slow, deliberate, like I'm a stain she can't believe made it into the building. I don't look away. Adrian stands at the far end, near the screen. He doesn't fidget. He doesn't pretend. He belongs here in a way Grant has been imitating his whole life. And then Adrian speaks. Not loud. He doesn't need loud. "Thank you for coming," he says, voice calm enough to be chilling. "This meeting is about investment, governance, and risk." Grant's smile widens, eager. He leans forward slightly, ready to charm. Adrian's eyes sweep the room once, quick and precise, then land on me. "And before we begin," he adds, "I want to introduce someone." My pulse hammers against my ribs. I can feel it in my fingertips, in my teeth. Adrian's gaze doesn't soften. He says it anyway. "Elizabeth Hart." The name rings out into the glass room, and for a heartbeat, everything stops. I hear a pen drop somewhere, a tiny plastic click, loud as a gunshot in the silence. A couple of people turn their heads fast, recognition flickering across some faces, confusion on others. Whispers that don't quite start because no one wants to be the first to break the spell. Grant's expression flickers. It's so fast it's almost invisible. Fear trying to wear a grin, a split-second crack in the mask before it seals again. He laughs, light and dismissive, like he can erase a name by treating it like a joke. "Okay, cute. But can we—" Adrian cuts him off without raising his voice. "I'm going to ask everyone to listen," he says, and the room obeys him the way bodies obey gravity. Grant's laugh dies on his tongue. Marlene's mouth tightens. Her fingers grip her purse strap like it's a lifeline. I sit down at the table. The leather chair is cool against the backs of my thighs. I fold my hands in front of me so no one sees the faint tremble in my knuckles. My stomach is tight. Not nausea exactly. Pressure. Like a storm held behind my ribs. Adrian gestures toward the screen. It lights up with a timeline. Clean, crisp, unforgiving. Dates, transactions, vendor names, amounts. Lines connecting to other lines like a map of rot. 2 auditors are there too. Neutral faces, neutral suits, voices that carry no emotion because they don't need it. Their calm is a weapon. They start talking. One explains irregularities in vendor payments. Another explains duplicated invoices. A third point shows approvals made from Grant's credentials. It's all so tidy, so undeniable that my skin prickles with a kind of awe. Truth is brutal when it's organized. Grant tries to jump in, voice quick. "We can clarify that. That's probably—" "Please," Adrian says, softly. Grant's mouth snaps shut. The auditors continue. More slides, more dates, patterns that repeat in a way that makes my old analyst brain hum with recognition. It's the same sick rhythm I found years ago in a different office under different fluorescent lights. Grant's leg starts bouncing under the table. The movement is small, frantic. His fingers tap once, twice, 3 times. He keeps smiling, but the smile looks glued on now, like it might peel off if anyone touches it. When the screen shows an email chain, Grant's name at the top, his login, his approvals, he finally leans forward hard enough that the chair squeaks. "That's," he says, voice rising. "That's not— Look, my wife, she's always on my computer. She must have clicked something. Mistakenly, she doesn't understand." My breath goes shallow. There it is. The predictable betrayal. Even now, even with the floor cracking beneath him, he tries to shove me under him like a shield. A mistaken employee. A clumsy wife. Just the maid. I keep my face still. I keep my hands folded. But inside me, something breaks cleanly, like a chain link snapping. Adrian's eyes slide to me for a fraction of a second, like a silent question. Ready? I don't nod. I don't need to. The auditors change slides again. And there it is, 2-factor logs, device fingerprints, IP records, Grant's phone approving transactions, Grant's credentials authorizing payments, a neat little series of confirmations that can't be blamed on a woman cleaning the house. Grant's lips part. No sound comes out. Marlene makes a noise then, small, wounded, a delicate gasp. Oh, this is insane, she says, already pulling the sorrow mask over her face. Her eyes glisten instantly, practiced. My son would never. We're a respectable family. This is a misunderstanding. People are trying to ruin us. Her voice trembles on cue, the way she trembles when she wants a room to pity her. I've seen her do it at church, at funerals, at baby showers when someone else got more attention than she did. But Adrian doesn't move. He doesn't soften. He says, show them. The next slide makes the air go icy. Messages. Not from Grant, from Marlene. Her words typed out in black text on a white screen. Plain, ugly, undeniable. Instructions. Coaching. Delete the vendor emails. Tell staff it's confidential. If anyone asks, say it's a system error. She coached people to erase trails, to cover gaps, to keep the family image polished while the inside rotted. Marlene's face drains. Her eyes dart around the room, searching for an ally, someone to rescue her, someone to say, poor Marlene. No one moves. The room has gone too quiet. The kind of quiet that isn't peaceful, the kind that waits. Grant's hand shoots out and grips Marlene's wrist under the table, like he's trying to stop her from sinking him further. His fingers tremble. He looks at her with a kind of fury that's almost funny, like he's shocked that the person who taught him how to be ruthless also taught him how to be sloppy. Marlene's chin lifts, defiant for half a second, then her eyes fill again, panicked. The mask is sliding. Adrian's gaze sweeps the table. Given this evidence, my team will not proceed with investment, he says, and I will be recommending immediate governance action. Governance action. The phrase lands like a gavel. A board member clears his throat. Another avoids Grant's eyes. One of them, someone Grant had laughed with at the gala, stares at the table like it's suddenly fascinating. Grant's voice cracks. You don't understand. Oh, I understand, Adrian replies, calm as ice. Then his eyes turn to me. Elizabeth, he says, would you like to speak? My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. For a second, I'm back in my kitchen. Bare feet on tile, Grant's hand on my arm, Marlene's voice in my ear, the vacuum hum, the silence, the swallowed anger. I feel bile rise. I swallow it down. Then I stand. My knees wobble. I lock them. The room seems to tilt slightly, like my body is still surprised I'm allowed to take up space. I look at Grant. He stares at me like I'm a stranger who stole his life. Like I'm the thief. His eyes flash with a warning I know too well. Don't. I lift my chin anyway. My husband introduced me as just the maid, I say, and my voice comes out steadier than I feel. He said it like a joke, like I should be grateful to be laughed at. Grant's mouth opens. Liz. I keep going, because if I stop, I'll drown. He controlled money. He corrected me in public. He let people treat me like staff because it made him feel important. My throat tightens, but I push through the burn. And when I tried to stay quiet for peace, he used my silence as permission. Grant shakes his head fast, eyes wide, playing innocence. This is personal. This is revenge. Yes, I whisper, and the word tastes like truth. It is. A shiver runs up my arms, not from fear, from relief, from finally naming it. I glance down at my hands, still shaking slightly, and I remember all the times I apologized for existing. I remember carrying trays, carrying shame, carrying a marriage that never carried me back. Then I look back up. I wasn't trapped because I was weak, I say, and my voice thickens on the last word. I was waiting. I was building a way out that wouldn't cost me my child. The room stays silent. Even Grant is silent now, because that sentence steals his favorite weapon. Mia. He'd tried to use her like a chain, and now the chain is in my hands. I sit back down slowly. My heart is racing so hard it makes my vision pulse, but I feel light. Like something heavy finally slid off my shoulders. The board votes without drama. It isn't a shouting match. It isn't cinematic screaming. It's worse for Grant because it's clean. A few raised hands, a few clipped statements, the kind of corporate execution that doesn't need blood to be brutal. Grant's leadership is suspended pending legal review. His access is cut, meetings scheduled, counsel contacted. He tries to argue, but his words bounce off the room like rubber. No one laughs with him anymore. No one reaches for him. He is suddenly what he always made me feel like. Unimportant. Marlene stands up too quickly, chair scraping. "This is an attack," she says, voice trembling. This is slander." Her voice cracks on the last word. No one comforts her. She grabs her purse and walks out stiffly, pearls bobbing like they're trying to escape her throat. Grant follows, face flushed, eyes wild. I don't chase. I don't need to. In the hallway outside the boardroom, the air is warmer. It smells faintly of carpet and coffee. My ears ring with leftover adrenaline. Grant appears in front of me like a storm cloud. Up close, he looks less like a husband and more like a man who just lost control of his own reflection. Elizabeth, please," he says, voice low, urgent. We can fix this, we can." His hands lift, palms out, a gesture he probably practiced in mirrors. "I was stressed. My mom pushed me. You know how she is. I didn't mean—" His eyes are glossy. He looks like he might cry. It doesn't move me the way it once would have. It doesn't hook into my ribs. It just sits there, pathetic and late. I watch him, and I feel something strange. Pity, maybe, but thin as paper. "You don't get to rewrite what you did because you got caught," I say. No shouting, no shaking. Just the sentence, placed between us like a closed door. Grant's face contorts. "I love you." The words hit my skin like cold rain. I think of Mia asleep. Her small, warm body, her trusting eyes. "You loved what I let you do," I say quietly. "You loved the version of me that stayed silent." His mouth opens again, desperate. "Mia!" A flash of rage flares in my belly, hot and immediate. "Don't!" I whisper, and it comes out like a blade. He stops. His eyes dart down the hall like he expects someone to appear, someone to save him from the consequences. But no one comes. He's alone, the way he always made me feel. He swallows, voice smaller now. "So that's it? You're just leaving?" I tilt my head slightly. "I left a long time ago," I say. "You just didn't notice." I walk past him. My heels click again, steady. Not hurried. Not running. Behind me, Grant makes a small sound, half sob, half laugh, and it fades as distance swallows it. Adrian waits near the elevator, posture calm, hands in his pockets like he's giving me space to breathe. When I reach him, he doesn't touch me. He just looks at me with that steady, focused attention that doesn't feel like possession. The elevator doors slide open with a soft hush. Adrian's voice drops, gentle in a way that almost hurts. "Are you ready to be Elizabeth again?" he asks. My chest tightens. I picture Mia, her question in the dark. "Mom, what's your real name?" My throat burns, my eyes sting. I step into the elevator and the mirrored wall shows me. Wine-colored dress, tired eyes, jaw set, hands still trembling a little. Not perfect, not polished, but real. I inhale. The air tastes like new beginnings and fear. I look at my reflection. Then I look at Adrian. Then, inside my mind, I look at my daughter. And I choose. The house is quiet in a way that feels earned. Not the tense quiet I lived in, holding my breath, listening for Grant's footsteps, waiting for the next small punishment. This is a softer quiet, the kind that settles on your shoulders like a blanket instead of a weight. Mia is asleep in her room, curled around her stuffed rabbit, mouth slightly open. When I crack her door, warm air and the sweet scent of her shampoo drift out. I stand there longer than I need to, just watching her chest rise and fall, letting my own lungs copy the rhythm. Slow? Safe? In the kitchen, the paperwork is spread across the table in neat stacks. Custody documents, a protective order request, bank forms, copies of evidence I never thought I'd hold in my hands again. My pen lies uncapped like I'm still mid-battle. At the top of one page, my full name is written in clean, dark letters. Elizabeth Hart. Seeing it in ink makes my throat tighten. It's not dramatic. It's almost embarrassing how much it hits me. Like I've been living half-lit for so long that simple clarity feels blinding. I run my fingertips over the paper, the faint grooves of the pen strokes, and my skin prickles. I didn't win because a billionaire showed up. Adrian was a door. I was the one who walked through it. Grant and Marlene built their power on my belief that I was nothing. Just the maid, Just the quiet wife. Just the woman who should be grateful. They needed me to stay small. They needed my silence to sound like permission. The moment I stopped believing them, they panicked. And now, in the aftermath, I understand something I wish I'd learned sooner. Healing isn't a switch. It's a rebuild. Brick by brick. Some nights my hands still shake when a car door slams outside. Some mornings my stomach twists before I remember I don't have to report my spending to anyone. But freedom started the day I said the truth out loud. If you've made it this far, tell me in the comments. What was the moment you knew Grant would fall? And if you want more betrayal to justice stories like this, hit like, share it with someone who needs the reminder, and subscribe because the next story is already waiting to be exposed.